Today, we're diving into the incredible story of the Airbus A320. This is an aircraft that was born from a fiery tragedy, only to go on and basically conquer the skies. It's a wild tale of revolutionary tech, a crash that shocked everyone, and honestly, one of the biggest comeback stories in the history of flight. Toga power! Go round track! Those are the chilling last words recorded from the cockpit of Air France Flight 296. The date was June 26, 1988. And this was supposed to be a huge moment, a triumphant flyby at a French air show showing off the absolute future of aviation. This was the plane's public debut, can you believe it? It had 136 people on board, and this demonstration flight, well, it didn't just go wrong, it ended in a complete disaster that left the entire world stunned. Suddenly, the whole idea of the A320 was on trial. So how on earth could this happen? I mean, was it a catastrophic mistake by the pilot? Or was there some deadly hidden flaw in the plane itself? This single question kicked off one of the most intense controversies in aviation history, a real battle between pilot and plane, between human instinct and computer code. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so to really get our heads around the crash, we first have to talk about the plane itself. Because the A320, it was so radically different from anything that had ever flown before it. This all comes down to a concept called fly-by-wire. Now, for the first time ever in a commercial jet, the pilot wasn't physically connected to the wings and tail with a bunch of cables and pulleys. It's not like that anymore. Instead, the pilot's side stick, it's kind of like a joystick, sent an electronic request to a computer. And it was the computer that actually decided how to move the plane. And what's so fascinating here is that this represents a totally new way of thinking about flying. A fundamental shift. Think about it. In a traditional jet, the pilot is king. They have the final say, even if they make a bad call. But on the A320, the computer has the ultimate authority. The machine can actually say no to the pilot, all in the name of keeping the plane safe. This system is called flight envelope protection. And really, you can just think of it as digital guardrails for the airplane. The whole system was designed to make it, in theory, impossible for a pilot to stall the plane or put too much stress on its structure. This, right here, this was the big idea, the promise behind that uncrashable plane marketing. Okay, so back to the air show. The pilot, Captain Michel Asselin, had this revolutionary new plane at his fingertips. His job was to show off the A320's amazing low-speed handling in a flyby, and he was confident he could do it. Maybe a little too confident. The flight data recorder, the black box, it told a really chilling story. So the plan was to fly by at 100 feet. Instead, they ended up skimming the treetops at a terrifying 30 feet. 30! Then, at 12:45 and 35 seconds, you hear that desperate call for full power. But it was just too late. A mere 4 seconds later, the most advanced airliner in the world was being ripped to shreds by the forest. So, the official investigation, done by the French bureau known as the BEA, came to a pretty clear conclusion. They said it was pilot error, plain and simple. The crew flew way too low and way too slow. They put the plane into a position where it just couldn't recover, totally underestimating how long it takes for jet engines to spool up from idle power. But Captain Asselin completely rejected that. He fought back hard, claiming he tried to get power sooner, that he tried to pull up, but that the plane's famous computers simply failed him. He said they just wouldn't respond. And that claim, it kicked off a media firestorm and spawned years and years of conspiracy theories. In the end, though, the data from the black boxes was just undeniable. The engines responded exactly as they were supposed to, and that fancy flight envelope protection system, it worked perfectly. The court sided with the investigators, and the pilot was convicted. But that public debate about who's really in charge up there, the human or the machine, well, that was just getting started. So you have to ask yourself, right? With a debut that was this disastrous, this controversial, how did the A320 not just fade away? How did it go on to become one of the most successful planes in history? Well, despite that terrible start, the A320 family became a massive commercial success. I mean, it's staggering. There are over 10,000 of them still flying today. Get this, somewhere in the world, an A320 family jet takes off or lands every 2 seconds. That's just wild. And here's where Airbus showed its true genius. It wasn't just about the tech in one plane. It was about the economics of creating a whole family of them. You had the smaller A318 and A319 for shorter hops, the standard A320, and then the bigger, stretched A321 for busier routes. And the key? They were all built around the exact same core design and, crucially, the same cockpit. And this was the secret sauce to its market dominance. This is the whole ball game right here. Because the cockpits were identical, a pilot who is certified to fly an A320 could also fly the A319 or the A321 with barely any extra training. For airlines, this was a dream come true. It meant huge savings on pilot training and incredible flexibility in scheduling crews. It gave them a massive economic advantage. And this brilliant economic model? It set the stage for an epic, decades-long battle for the skies. For more than 30 years, it's been Airbus A320 versus the Boeing 737. These two families of jets have been locked in this fierce head-to-head competition for market dominance. I mean, this rivalry has basically defined the entire airline industry for a generation. Every single order is a brutal fight, pushing both companies to innovate like crazy. And when you look at the delivery numbers each year, you can see just how tight this race is. It's neck and neck. The lead in this, by the way, multi-trillion-dollar market, it can flip back and forth from one year to the next. Each company is always waiting for the other one to slip up. But look, this fight is nowhere near over. And today, the A320 family is facing its own serious challenges. You've got global supply chain problems slowing down production. And a really big one, there are major durability issues with the new Pratt Whitney engines on the latest A320neo planes, and that is causing a massive headache for airlines all over the world. You know, in the end, the story of the A320 really comes full circle. The technology, all those computers, they were designed to save pilots from making mistakes. But the great irony is that very same safety net might have made the pilot feel so confident that he flew closer to the edge than anyone ever had before. And we all saw the tragic result. So it leaves us with this big question, doesn't it? The A320 literally taught computers how to fly a passenger jet. But now, more than 30 years later, maybe the biggest challenge is still teaching us humans how to fly with them. It's a question that started in that forest in France, and it's one that continues to shape the future of flight today.